ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, some beautiful verses describing the details of the Lord's form. Sanchintayet bhagavatascharanarvindam vajrankushatvajah saroruha lanchanadhyam उत्तुङ्गरक्तविलसन्नखः चक्रवाल ज्योत्स्नाभिराहतमहद् हृदयान्धकारम्. The devotee should first concentrate his mind on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks of a thunderbolt, gourd, a banner, and a lotus. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resembles the orb of the moon and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. So in Bhagavatam, actually, there's a lot of many verses which describe the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is one of them. So the devotee should first concentrate his mind on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks of a thunderbolt, a gourd, a banner, and a lotus. No, these are not the only marks. Okay, so let me read the purport and then I'll give some more information. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resembles the orb of the moon and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. Chakravala, Nakha Chakravala, Chakravala, circle of the moon, orb of the moon. The Mayavadi says that because one is unable to fix his mind on the impersonal existence of the absolute truth, one can imagine any form he likes and fix his mind on that imaginary form. But such process is not recommended here. Imagination is always imagination and results only in further further imagination. Imagination is always imagination and results only in further imagination. A concrete description of the eternal form of the Lord is given here. The Lord's soul is depicted with the distinctive lines resembling a thunderbolt, a flag, a lotus flower, and a gourd. The luster of his toenails, which are brilliantly prominent, resembles the light of the moon in the luster splendor. If a yogi looks upon the marks of the Lord's soul and on the blazing brilliance of his nails, then he can be freed from the darkness of ignorance in material existence. This liberation is not achieved by mental speculation, but by seeing the light emanating from the lustrous toenails of the Lord. In other words, one has to fix his mind first on the lotus feet of the Lord if he wants to be freed from the darkness of ignorance in material existence. So, very beautiful verse. I'm going to show the, so you might have all seen. So this verse, so this left side is lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Visible, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay. So this verse is talking about thunderbolt. This is thunderbolt. Then lotus. No, this is gourd. This is gourd. Yeah, this is the thunderbolt. Then lotus feet. What lotus? Thunderbolt, gourd, and what else? What is the fourth
Flag.
thing? Flag. So this is a flag. So this is only Lord's right feet, right foot. Then there are also impressions on the left foot. Mm. So this whole description is there various places. So we can. So the what is this verse saying? That if we concentrate on these things, on the signs on the lotus feet of the Lord, so we should try to remember this. So this is a barley corn. It's called a barley corn here. Chakra, Padma, Ankusha. Then this is Vajra, thunderbolt. Pataka, flag, umbrella, Chhatri. Then there is swastik. Then these are, what are these fruits? What Jambu. These are the jambu fruits, I think. Then there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octagonal. Octagon. Octagon, yeah. So this is on one foot. On the other foot is a this two circles. What is this? Can't remember. Conch. Then this is a bow. This is footprint of calf. Footprint of a calf. Then there are pots, triangle, crescent moon, and a fish. Mm. And this is lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So it's a conch. There's a like a hillock or a mountain. What is this? I've forgotten. Hmm. Water pot, triangle, bow, sky, fish. Fish. No, it's not ours. ISKCON Desire Tree. Anka Chakra Kata Padma. Yeah, half moon, left foot, half moon, water pot. So water pot, triangle, bow, sky, cows, footprint, fish, conch. What about that circular? Sky. Oh, okay, okay, that's sky. This is sky. So this thing is sky. Circular thing is sky. Okay. Yeah, jumbo fruit. Then a pointed star, swastika, wheel, parasol, barley corn, elephant goat, flag, thunderbolt, jumbo fruit, urdhva rekha, and lotus. So there are 19 opulences on both feet together. And same thing with Radharani, 19 opulences. Ari, I don't know what is Ari. What is Ari? Chandra Kalasha. Anu, Ambara, Ghosh, Pada, Matsya, Shankha, Chakra, Ankusha, Dhwaja, Vajra, Kamala, Pushpa, Gada, Vedi, oh, altar, flag, wine meaning creeper. I need a better description. And so this is an altar. This is a palace. Trishul, Gada, Matsya. What is it? Okay, let's see the reference. Chakra Padma, then Ankusha, Pataka, Chhatri. Then there's a flower, there's a ring. What is this? Bracelet. Okay, so this is a bracelet. Lotus, Urdhva. Oh, this is Urdhva. Okay. Barley corn. This is okay. Anyway, so this we have to study this. Elephant goat, half moon, barley corn, right? Shakti, club, chariot, altar, earrings. These are earrings. So this is a earring. Fish, mountain, and concept. And there are meanings of. So this is the object of meditation. So we should try to remember all these. Um, mm, so our mind has to become absorbed. So this is one of the ways of absorbing the mind is by concentrating our mind on the Lord's lotus feet and trying to recollect, remember all the signs on the Lord's lotus feet. So that is one part. Now the second part is the splendor of the beautiful ruby nails. So what color is ruby? So we should see ruby, right? So so Lord's nails are colored like this ruby. So Lord's ruby nails. So like you can think of it like you put what is a nail polish, but it's not nail polish. It's actually the natural color of the Lord's nails. Uh, so and the splendor, the luster, the light, brilliance that is coming out. Mm, it resembles the orb of the moon, like the circle of the moon, meaning it's so bright and white. Mm. And when we concentrate on the splendor of the beautiful ruby nails and the Lord's lotus feet, all of this dispels the thick gloom. Gloom is basically ignorance. So here Prabhupada is saying one has to fix his mind first on the lotus feet of the Lord if he wants to be freed from the darkness of ignorance in material existence. So if somebody is too much in tamoguna, so they have to simply concentrate on the Lord's lotus feet. Simply they have to remember the Lord's lotus feet. And the tamoguna will be gone. So this can be tried. So if somebody is too much of tamoguna, then we can just simply fix our mind on the Lord's lotus feet, right? This image. So this is beautiful. So see the details. So the beauty about these verses is actually we can see there are so many details described here. So it's not like if we just say Lord's lotus feet, okay, some like any human's load, foot, and that's not it, right? The Lord's lotus feet has certain signs, and we need to meditate on those signs. And each and every part of the body of the limbs of the Supreme Lord is described. So here The ruby nails, the beautiful ruby nails, splendor of the ruby, beautiful ruby nails is being described. So like this, attention to details. This is called attention to detail. यच्छौच निःसृत सरित् प्रवरोदकेन तीर्थेन मूर्ध्य अधिकृतेन शिवोऽभूत् ध्यातुर्मनः शमलशैलनिःसृष्टवज्रं ध्यायेच्चिरं भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्. The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by bearing on his head the holy waters of the Ganges, which has its source in the water that had washed the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord's feet act like thunderbolts hurled to shatter the mountain of sin stored in the mind of the meditating devotee. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time, which is why actually for devotees who are new to Krishna consciousness, we are just advised simply to concentrate, meditate on the Lord's lotus feet. Right. Look at this, so powerful. Lord's lotus feet act like thunderbolts, hurled to shatter the mountain of sin stored in the mind. And this mind which is sin which is stored in the mind is the result of results in all again further sinful activities, further sinful propensities, and it keeps continuing. So when we meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time, then what happens? The mountain of sin is destroyed. In this verse, the position of Lord Shiva is specifically mentioned. The impersonalist suggests that the absolute truth has no form and that one can therefore equally imagine the form of Vishnu or Lord Shiva or Goddess Durga or their son Ganesha. This is the Panchopasana they do, the Nirakarvadis. They say Lord has no form, so you can imagine form of Vishnu or Shiva or Durga or Ganesha or Surya. Surya is the fifth demigod. So they think that any of this or the fifth person in the imagination, as thinking that they are equal to the absolute truth. I say any of these we can imagine, and that is absolute truth. Why? Because anyway he has no form, so you can imagine any form. But actually, the Supreme Person of Godhead is the Supreme Master of everyone. Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasabhabhritya. Supreme Lord is Krishna and everyone else, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, not to mention other demigods, is a servant of Krishna. The same principle is described here. Lord Shiva is important because he is holding on his head the holy Ganges water, which has its origin in the foot wash of Lord Vishnu. So who is more important? So the one who is holding the water which has washed the lotus feet of Vishnu, or Lord Vishnu himself. So we should understand Lord Shiva's position. He's holding the holy Ganges water. Why? Because it actually washed. Of course, there is some pastime, like Sagara's Bhagirath was trying to bring Ganges down, etc., etc. But the whole idea is that why did Lord Shiva actually agree to hold Ganga on his head is because it is washed the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. In the Haribhakti Vilasa by Sanatana Goswami, it is said that anyone who puts the Supreme Lord and the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, on the same level at once becomes a Pashandi or atheist. We should never consider the Supreme Lord Vishnu and the demigods are on equal footing. Another significant point of this verse is that the mind of the conditioned soul, on account of its association with material energy from time immemorial, contains heaps of dirt in the form of desires to lord it over material nature. What is a dirt? Dirt is to lord it over material nature. In whatever form, small, big, medium, whatever size it is just heap of dirt. That's all. This dirt is like a mountain. This dirt, this heap of dirt in the form of desire to lord it over material nature is like a mountain. But a mountain can be shattered when hit by a thunderbolt. Meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord acts like a thunderbolt on the mountain of dirt in the mind of the yogi. So if we are stuck with material desires, simply we have to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. We can try this. As one of the angas of bhakti, we can, especially those stuck with material desires, every day, like gradually increasing. Start, maybe for first 2 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and simply meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. If we can't remember, we can still even see the image, like an image like this. And what do? We keep seeing, we keep remembering, go through. Okay, Balikan, Chakra, Padma, Ankusha, like this. We go through this. We go through this multiple times, and then we close our eyes, and then we try to remember again those signs and the positions. Mm. And once we are able to remember, maybe we can try to put it on paper. Mm. So like this, we have to simply meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. So if we
Hare
simply do
Krishna,
this,
Prabhu.
yeah, just one second. If we simply do this, Prabhupada is saying that it actually removes the thunderbolt on acts like a thunderbolt on the mountain of dirt in the mind of the yogi. One second, I'll just finish this paragraph. If a yogi wants to shatter the mountain of dirt in his mind, he should concentrate on the lotus feet of the Lord and not imagine something void or impersonal. Because the dirt has accumulated like a solid mountain, one must meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for quite a long time. For one who is accustomed to thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord constantly, however, it is a different matter. The devotees are so fixed. So look at the position of devotees. We can then understand what state we are in. The devotees are so fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord that they do not think of anything else. For them, this is natural. Simply the lotus feet of the Lord comes to their mind. Simply. The chanting Hare Krishna, every aspect of Krishna is coming to their mind. Lotus feet also comes to their mind. Hmm. Those who practice the yoga system must meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time after following the regulative principles and thereby controlling the senses. So actually for devotees, this process helps. It's not the central theme of our central theme of our process is chanting Hare Krishna. Hmm. But anything associated with the Lord, any kind of smaranam, mananam, connected with the Lord is very, very powerful. It purifies us. So there's no harm in actually sitting and meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. But it's not at the expense of our normal chanting, because that is the core process. But I'm just saying we can try this if we are like too much stuck with material desires which are not going away, because naturally by the process of chanting, by the process of bhakti, material desire should have reduced. If it is not, that means that there is a lot more dirt. So we can try lot more medicine we can give, like meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Yeah, somebody is asking something.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Vinod
Hare
here.
Krishna. Yeah,
So,
Vinod. True.
quick question. So, when it comes to meditation, so can you meditate on the lotus feet of the deities? For example, Radha, Madhav deities from Mayapur. Is that
Yeah, but you can't see the signs. See, Radha Rani anyway
mm,
doesn't show her lotus feet at all, first of all. Right, and
no, just Krishna alone?
Krishna,
Krishna alone.
we can see the detail is very, very important. See, the mind has to get
Mhm.
absorbed. See,
Mhm.
if I know, I'm just going to open. eh, What is happening to this? Yeah, I mean, there are more better images, but we can see very
Yeah, it's not completely visible because it's
Yeah.
either decorated with some flowers, majority of the time.
Yeah, and we can see the red altar on Lord's feet, right? But
Mm, mm,
we can't really. I mean, of course, there are details.
mm.
Uh, okay, I have one more photo here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, so there are some pictures which only pictures of the feet of Radha Madhava, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah. I mean, so we can, but like I said again, it's important to get absorbed in the details,
Mm,
right? And the details actually are, in fact, I mean, we have not gone into the uh, description of the different signs on the lotus feet of the Lord. Each of them, just concentrating on each of those, right? Like I was reading somewhere, right? I don't know where it went. So each of those signs also have an impact. I mean, they have certain functions that they're doing, and all of them actually work towards cleansing the dirt from the lotus feet of the heart in the mind of the devotee, right? So these signs are very very significant.
mm.
Mm. So
Okay.
yeah, and like I said, this is not a replacement to our chanting. This is just we are sitting and twiddling our thumbs, instead of that, or we doing some stuff. We can try to concentrate our mind on the
Mm.
lotus feet
Yeah,
of the Lord.
actually, I mean, the way I meditate is, Prabhu, so basically when I chant, right? So each and every beat, I try to like, I mean, caress the fingers of the Lord, I mean, the toes of the Lord.
No, Prabhupada did
Is
not
that a way
recommend
to
that.
be? Is not recommended?
No,
Okay.
Prabhupada just recommended simply hear and simply chant and hear. Hear attentively the name. See,
Mhm,
the whole process is like this. Naturally, naturally.
mhm,
So when you say Hare Krishna, naturally the
mhm,
form of Radha and Krishna should come to our mind. Naturally, because we are referring to.
mhm.
So when I say
Yes, yes.
Vinod Prabhu,
Mhm, mhm.
uh, if we are really concentrating on our chanting, doing it
Yeah,
very attentively, when I intently call your name, immediately your form comes to my mind. It's a very natural process.
correct, correct.
Right now, we don't have to. Now, when the form comes and if the form remains, then yeah, then whatever attracts us
Mhm,
most, maybe is lotus face, maybe is lotus feet, whatever. But it should be natural. So how will the natural thing happen? Suppose say you're meditating, you are spending some other time, right? And doing shravanam, doing, studying all the signs of the lotus feet of the Lord, etc. And then next day morning when you're chanting, suddenly Hare Krishna, suddenly, the all the signs might come into your mind
mhm.
when you're chanting. But it should not be it's not an separate effort, endeavor. This Prabhupada has said multiple times. It should be natural, meaning as
Yeah,
soon as we
mhm.
take the names of Hare, Radha and Krishna, naturally it should come.
Right, Prabhu. But I mean, like the mind is what the problem that I've seen is if I don't concentrate my mind upon one thing,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it just takes me for a ride, and then all of
Mm.
a sudden I realize that you know what did I do in the last 5 minutes because the round is over
Okay.
already. So
So
when I concentrate on this, at least the lotus feet, at
uh-huh.
least the mind is tied to that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So see, but the important thing is then we should still develop a taste for the nama, right? In
Okay.
the
Yeah.
sense,
Yes. Yes.
if you are really chanting, the
Mhm.
names of Krishna should become more attractive to us, right?
Okay. Okay. I mean,
And
the
it's
first priority should be holy name.
attachment to the holy name is
Right.
very, very
Okay.
important, right? Because that is the entrance into all this. This what we are doing right now is a little bit of a mechanical process, which Prabhupada did not recommend. But if it's working for you, then you can check with other senior devotees whether it's okay. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm asking for the authenticity of that because I heard somewhere Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj also kind of mentioned that when you chant, you should, think of caressing the foot toes of the Lord, something like
mm.
that. I don't know how authentic
No, no,
that
yeah, yeah,
statement
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Can
So there
someone
are
verify that, Prabhu? Can you verify that and let me
Bhakti
know?
Vinod Thakur also has talked about meditation on the lotus feet or on the form of the Lord. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also, but for some reason Prabhupada did not.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm not very sure why or
Mhm.
what the rationale is for that. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's completely unauthorized. But yeah, these things actually, I've been wanting to actually ask His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj about this. Different, many devotees have come with this question. But
Right.
for
Right.
a long time, actually, my chanting was simply on
Mhm.
the focused on the nama,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And actually, the process Srila Prabhupada recommended was that when we hear so much about Krishna,
Mhm.
and when we, naturally it should come, right? But yeah, we can check. I cannot say that I'm an authority in chanting, so we can check with
Sure,
the
Prabhu. I
senior.
mean, if we can clarify that for us, that would help.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
yeah.
Very-
It's specifically mentioned here, Bhagavatas Charanaravindam. One has to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. The Mayavadis imagine that one can think of the lotus feet of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma or Goddess Durga to achieve liberation. But this is not so. Bhagavataha is specifically mentioned. Bhagavataha means of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Vishnu, and no one else. Another significant phrase in this verse is Shiva, Shivobhut. By his constitutional position, Lord Shiva is always great and auspicious. Shivaha is Shiva. Shivobhut, meaning he became Shiva, meaning he became Mangala, auspicious. Shiva means auspicious. So Shiva became auspicious by what? Since he accepted on his head the Ganges water. So Lord Shiva's auspiciousness is because he accepted on his head the Ganges water, which emanated from the lotus feet of the Lord. He has become even more auspicious and important. And the stress is on the lotus feet of the Lord. A relationship with the lotus feet of the Lord can even enhance the importance of Lord Shiva. What to speak of other ordinary living entities? So obviously, this meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord is very very powerful. And see the authenticity. One thought just came to my mind. Authenticity of any of this process, actually should result in some impact, some outcome, right? Which means that our material attachment should keep reducing if you're actually doing a process which is right. Uh, or maybe we are doing it wrong. But the whole process is that this mountain of sin, this desire, uh, in the form of desires to lord it over material nature, this has to reduce. This has to go. That is the whole idea. Each and every day of Krishna consciousness, each and every day of sadhana, this dirt has to reduce. Because this is the first thing actually. If this dirt doesn't reduce, then we cannot really experience any nectar. We cannot experience any bliss, real bliss. Hmm. Of course, like Prabhupada is saying, it's like a mountain. This dirt is like a mountain. But a mountain can be shattered when hit by a thunderbolt. And Lord's holy name, Lord's form, Lord's lotus feet, everything about Supreme Lord Krishna, he is like a thunderbolt. Uh, So repeated association with the Lord, Lord's holy name, Lord's form, Lord's pastimes, Lord's qualities, Lord's devotees, even Lord's devotees, even powerful. Mm. I always keep saying whenever there's a senior Vaishnava, we should simply be in their association, just around them, not like a bug. Like Prabhupada said, yeah, even mosquito is around near the guru, but it's troubling. Not like that. Mm. But if we actually, absorb ourselves in their consciousness, then just by their presence, the kachara in our heart will go. It's so powerful, actually. The Lord and His devotees, pure devotees, are all very powerful. Which is why every time some, Maharaj comes somehow, either in the class I will go and sit right in front, or if I can get a chance to serve, to do that because it's very very powerful, and it's Uh, and similarly, I mean, if you chant the names of Krishna properly, if you hear attentively, if you absorb ourselves in these things, naturally the dirt has to reduce. And see, Prabhupada is so clearly saying that it's like a thunderbolt. It's like a thunderbolt. So there is really very less chance of us retaining these anarthas if we want to leave them. This is the whole key. See, the process that we are engaging in is so powerful. It's like, you know, we have some disease and we are taking a medicine which literally it can kill everything. Now, if we are taking that medicine, we can't stand in between and say, no, 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 now, you know, whatever infection is not going. Uh, so we should just let go. We should just let go and say, okay, let all my kachada go. Let me not add more kachada on a daily basis. Right? And then the process is very, very effective. And we should see a decrease. We should see. There should be a decrease in our material desires, material attachments, and naturally the attachment to Krishna has to increase. Krishna and his devotees has to increase. So very, very powerful two purports, you know, just concentrating our mind on the lotus feet of the Lord can remove all the dirt in the form of desires to lord it over material nature. And if we can just clean this up, then there is nothing which can really stop us from achieving perfection. Is this material dirt which is actually the cause of all? This is our anartha. This is our anartha nivritti. So we can, this is a very, very powerful process. So those who are badly stuck, otherwise Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is very powerful as well. But because we don't chant it properly, without, we chant with offenses. So we can try this process parallelly, concentrating our mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, I'll stop here. If anybody has any other questions, comments. Okay, because Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि वैष्णव हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.